Once upon a time, there lived a young boy named Marcus, who was born with a twisted leg that made him walk with a painful limp. And every day at school, the other children would laugh at him, call him names, and leave him sitting alone during lunch while they played games he could never join, making his heart grow heavier with each passing day until he began to believe that maybe he really was worthless, like they said. But his grandmother, who raised him after his parents died in an accident, would hold him close every night and whisper that God gives the hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. Though Marcus couldn't understand how someone as weak as him could be strong at all. Until one autumn day when the school announced a talent show and Marcus watched sadly from his corner, knowing he had nothing special to share. Nothing that would make people stop seeing him as the broken boy with the bad leg. And that night he cried into his pillow, asking why he had to be different, why he couldn't just be normal like everyone else. When suddenly he remembered how his grandmother would hum beautiful songs while cooking dinner songs that made even the saddest days feel brighter, and something stirred deep inside him as he realized that maybe, just maybe, he could sing too. So he began practicing in secret, singing softly in his room where no one could hear him fail or laugh at his mistakes. And his voice was shaky at first, cracking and breaking like his confidence. But he kept trying because something about making music made him forget about his leg, forget about the mean words, forget about being different. And slowly his voice grew stronger, clearer, more beautiful, until the day of the talent show arrived. And Marcus stood backstage with his heart pounding so hard he thought it might burst right out of his chest, watching the popular kids do their perfect dances and fancy magic tricks while his leg throbbed with pain from standing so long. And when they called his name, he almost ran away, but then he saw his grandmother in the front row with tears already in her eyes just from seeing him up there. And he limped onto that stage while some kids started to giggle, but when he opened his mouth and began to sing, something magical happened because his voice poured out like honey, like sunshine, like all the pain he'd ever felt transformed into something beautiful. And the whole auditorium went completely silent as this boy they'd ignored and mocked was suddenly filling the room with the most incredible sound they'd ever heard. And by the time he finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Even the kids who had been the meanest were wiping their faces. And the standing ovation seemed to last forever, while Marcus stood there realizing that his weakness, his pain, his difference had somehow become his greatest strength. That all those lonely lunches and tearful nights had given his voice a power that perfect lives could never create. And from that day forward, everything changed because people finally saw him not as the boy with the bad leg, but as Marcus the singer, Marcus the brave one. Marcus who had turned his deepest hurt into his brightest light. And he learned that sometimes our biggest struggles become our greatest gifts. That the things that make us different are actually the things that make us special. And that true strength isn't about having a perfect body or a perfect life, but about finding the courage to share your heart with the world even when you are scared, even when you are hurting, even when everyone expects you to fail. So we can learn from this story that our challenges don't define our limits. They reveal our potential, that every scar tells a story of survival. Every tear waters the seeds of tomorrow's strength. And when we embrace what makes us different, instead of hiding it, we discover that our weaknesses are just strengths waiting to be born. That our inner power comes not from being perfect, but from being brave enough to be ourselves. And Marcus reminds us all that the very things we think disqualify us from greatness are often the exact things that qualify us for it, because it's through our struggles that we develop the compassion, resilience, and authenticity that touch other people's hearts and change the world one song, one story, one act of courage at a time. And did you enjoy the story? Tell us what you think in the comments. And make sure to subscribe to our channel to become part of our family, because you won't want to miss what is coming next.